popcorn. Pass the what? Pass the popcorn. Pass the what? Pass the popcorn.
Yo, what is up, everybody? It's your host, Lights Plays.
And this is the BFD.
And this is Pass the Popcorn, where we talk about movies from a very weird period of time.
The 80s and the 90s. This is where I put him on to movies that I enjoyed as a child. And now we're going to put you guys on. So the movie that we watched today was the 1984 classic Breakin, starring Shabba-Doo as Ozone, Boogaloo Shrimp as Turbo, Lucinda Dickey was Special K or Kelly, and Shooter McGavin was James. So movie starts. Kelly is a waitress. She's working at a hamburger stand, and I don't know why a hamburger stand needs a waitress. It was like a hamburger joint, right?
Yeah, it was a joint.
It was like
It
where you
wasn't,
go.
it wasn't really a store. It was just like a hanging out.
Yeah, it was like
no one's there to buy food.
It almost looked like a snack bar at like a hockey rink. Her friend comes in and is like, "Hey, are you still dancing?" Like, "Hey, I have a friend. He's an agent. Call him up and he's gonna hook you up." Fast forward, now we're in Kelly's dance class. Her teacher is a creep, right?
Very. I feel uncomfortable just talking about this part.
Her friend needs a ride to Venice, and that's where we meet the two stars, the break dancers,
the man, the myth, the legends.
Turbo and Ozone. And there's a crowd, and people are grooving, and people are loving it. Two other guys come in, and they're like, "Oh, we're better breakers than you." And then pop, and then boom, bang, bang, bang. They battle. Turbo and Ozone lose. Turbo and Ozone visit Kelly in class. The creepy teacher gets upset, calling them amateurs, and they belong in the streets. Amateurs, yes. Turbo and Ozone are like at this club called the Radiotron. Kelly goes with her friend to go watch them dance. And that's when they're gonna battle like an official, because the first battle was like a friendly.
That was like a warm-up.
That was a warm-up. That wasn't going on the permanent records. And then they got Ice-T making his first movie appearance. He's the MC and he's like freestyling while they're battling. They battle. Turbo and Ozone are getting them and beating them.
They just pull out a secret weapon like Pablo Sanchez from Backyard Sports. This girl is just demolishing them because they don't got a third.
The two lose, and Turbo and Ozone, now they got that L on the permanent record. And then Kelly's like, you guys need a girl. And they were like, she was good. And Kelly was like, I'm better. And we go to the famous 80s montage. And then it's, breakdancing training sequence. And it ends to them like with jackets, matching jackets. TKO crew, Turbo, Kelly, Ozone.
I never noticed that.
Kelly goes to the Radiotron with James, her agent, Shooter McGavin. Forgot about him. They come to get their respect back. They battle, and then Kelly just comes in, flipping.
There's no dancing involved in this scene. There's one or two splits here and there, but it's mostly just backflip, repeating cartwheels. Another backflip. Another backflip.
They win. Now Kelly's like, Shooter, yo, you need to hook us up because we're going to go places. We're going to get you guys in the contest and you guys are going to demolish all these other classically trained ballet dancers. He rents them a studio so they could practice.
Very class studio.
Now we go to the second training montage because it's the 80s and we're going to do it right. Two training montages.
Two for the price of one.
Yes. They're dancing in the studio, preparing their routine, cutting back and forth between Shooter, calling up people to get them into this audition.
He's really stressing.
Turbo is doing the moonwalk, and then cut to Shooter making a phone call and hanging up, and then cut to Kelly flipping, and then cut back to Shooter, and then he's like hanging the phone up again, and then cut to Turbo pop locking, and then cut to Shooter hanging it up again. And finally he comes into the studio. He's like, no one's gonna let us in the contest. He's like, all right, I got an idea. He renames the group.
He names them a very classy name.
Yeah, like they all have like penguin suits like with the tails and the top hats and the bow ties. And then they're like, okay, you guys are good. Let him into the contest. And then Kelly's creepy teacher is dancing before them. Yes. And then they get off the stage and he sees them. And he already had the run-in with Turbo and Ozone. And he tells the judges and whispers in the ears, he didn't want them in the competition. We're not gonna take you guys. We're only seeing jazz dancers today. Ozone wasn't having it. He was like,
Ozone, street dancer, sucker.
He's tearing off his sleeves. They tears it up, right? Him and then all the other guys follow in, and they're not doing crazy like choreographed dances. Like Franco's team was doing like a performance with a story.
Yeah, they were all doing the same thing.
Yeah, they were doing like
They were just freestyling. They had
Yeah.
no plan coming into this at
nah,
all.
they just, Turbo's doing like the moonwalk in the corner. Kelly's flipping, but she's flipping in high heels.
Impressive.
And then Ozone pop locking. This is
It's
what
like a freestyle.
this is Franco starts pouting like, I'm gonna pull my team. Then it cuts to the marquee on the billboard, and it says
Ozone, Special K, and Turbo in Street Jazz.
Street Jazz. So
The play.
it shows them dancing, and they even had the two dudes that they battled at the Radiotron there in the play with them.
Oh yeah,
and
and
some
Bison.
dude-
Yeah, the dude from the beach, one of them, he was wearing like M Bison hat from Street Fighter.
It cuts to the end. Everybody jumps in the air and pop, breaking.
But then you can't forget this part. This part's
No.
very important. It says this one's epic. Wait for part 2. And
Yeah.
it says Electric Boogaloo. You just released this stinking movie, this freaking movie. You just released it, and you're already self-promoting the second.
Breaking is a classic from my childhood because at the time, nobody really knew about breakdancing. It was something that was done in the inner cities. So if you're from New York, LA, and you were deep into hip hop, which wasn't getting radio play, which wasn't getting video play on MTV.
Underground.
Well, unless you were in the scene, you didn't know about breakdancing. So this movie was America's introduction to
Introduce the
breakdancing.
whole world.
Yeah, pretty much. If you were in Iowa or
Wisconsin.
or Kentucky, this was the movie that like put it on the map. Like before that, there was Flashdance, which came out the year before in 1983, and there was like a 30-second clip. I think she's walking to work, and two dudes are breakdancing, and two dudes are like Mr. Freeze and Crazy Legs from the Rocksteady crew, world famous Rocksteady crew, and they're breakdancing like on cardboard. And that 30 seconds was like massive. That was the first time hip hop or breakdancing was in a big budget blockbuster movie. That's why it's a classic for me and a lot of people who grew up in the 80s. What was your favorite part about the movie?
My favorite part was probably Turbo using the broom. They work in a liquor store, and Ozone's just packing the shelves. Right, just this fool wants to leave. And Turbo's just doing Turbo things, and Ozone's like, "Go sleep, go sweep." He goes out and just sweeping and just popping, locking, moonwalking. He makes the broom stand on his own. He like used some Harry Potter magic to just do this, and the broom is apparently just standing up.
Go on YouTube right now after you're done watching this and after you're done liking this and subscribing to this.
Yeah, you better.
Watch that scene because it's classic. What was your least favorite part?
The acting.
The only like person that could act in this was the man.
Turbo.
No,
And Shooter together.
Shooter.
Well,
Turbo was
did
decent. He was decent. He was like
Ozone was just trying.
Yeah.
He was just trying his best. No.
Kelly was terrible.
Not good at all.
She is really, really bad. But Shooter was good.
Yes.
Like where you could feel his pain when he was hanging up and getting no's from the audition.
And
You were
when he
like,
was getting
damn.
mad.
Christopher McDonald, shout out. Good job. Here on Pass the Popcorn, we got a rating system. One bucket of popcorn, that is. 1 bucket if the movie's trash. 5 buckets if it's like Godfather status. For me, I'd give it 3 buckets just because of nostalgia. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug. The movie is not good. I'm gonna repeat that. It is not good. It's terrible. If you've seen it more than once and you like, oh, I wanna watch Breaking, you're probably gonna fast forward it just to the breaking scenes.
Just to the.
And you're not gonna watch the storyline because it's terrible, it's horrible. My ratings don't matter because I've seen these movies. I'm judging them based off of nostalgia and how I remember them and why they were important to me in my childhood. Your rating is the only one that matters. What are we gonna give it?
Okay, I'm not just saying this because he did. This movie was terrible. I don't want to be too judgy, but this is a fat 1.5 for me. It just would have got a 1, but this is where the half comes in. The breakdancing. Yeah, I was so close to it too, but the acting was pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's what's breaking it down.
So you're saying the acting gives it a half, and then
the acting ruined it.
The
Basically.
dancing is gonna give it to 1.5.
No. The dancing gave it to one. The acting gave it to the half.
There you have it. He did not like the movie. I didn't think he would like it, but it's a classic for me. Soundtrack is good. Soundtrack is worth it. Just go on YouTube, look up the dance scenes from Breakin' because those are worth it. Part 2 is way worse than this one. it makes this one seem like Godfather. Just to give you a hint, part one came out in May of 1984. It did well. Part two came out like December of 1984. So they literally wrote a script, shot a movie, and edited it and released it in 8 months. If you want to, the whole movie's available on YouTube in pieces. Don't waste any money. Don't waste any money watching this.
It's not worth the price.
That's our review of Breakin. Thank you for listening and watching.
Like, subscribe, check us out.
Pass the popcorn. We are out.
This story's through, but wait till part 2.